This episode is on rounding, and it features a special guest.
Learning can be fun! If you like learning in exciting and engaging ways, then Talking Study Guides is for you! I'm Mr. C, and let's get started. Well, hey there! I just came from the grocery store, and something puzzled me. It puzzled me that almost every item that I bought ended in 99 cents. For example, grapes were 99 cents, bread was $1.99, and unicorn fruit roll-ups were $2.99. Companies often price things that end in 99 cents because some consumers just look at the number of dollars that things cost and they don't always pay attention to the amount of cents located to the right of the decimal. Many savvy consumers, though, do pay attention to the entire cost of the item and they round 99 cents to the nearest dollar. Rounding is a form of estimation, and the purpose is to work with simple numbers. You can move a number up, down, or keep it the same based on a number scale. You can be asked to round numbers in a variety of ways, such as to the nearest 10, the nearest 100, or nearest 1,000. Which way that you round it depends on the place value of the number as well as its neighbor. That tells you whether you're going to be rounding up or down. If you have the number 27 and are asked to round it to the nearest 10, first, you need to think of two numbers that have a tens place followed by a zero that it's close to. The number 27 falls in between the numbers 20 and 30. I now need to decide if the number itself is closer to 20 or 30. You should zone in on the tens place, which has the digit 2. Go ahead and circle it. To figure out which way we need to go is dependent on its neighbor. Let's go ahead and underline the neighbor, which is a 7. If you count from 27 to 30, you'll find that it's only 3 numbers away from 30, but it's 7 numbers away from 20. Therefore, it rounds to 30, and that's my answer. Let's try a rounding problem that wants you to round to the nearest 100, using the strategy that we learned. The number we're going to round is 439. My focus is on the hundreds place, so my two possible answers must be the numbers that have a hundreds place but end in 2 zeros. 439 is in between the numbers 400 and 500, but which is it closer to? First, I need to find the hundreds place. It's a 4. I'm going to circle it. My neighbor is a 3. This tells me I need to round down. 439 is 39 numbers away from 400, but it's 61 numbers from 500. So I need to round it down to 400. Guess what? You're not just going to be learning about rounding from me. We're going to take a trip to see my friend Renee. So, while I put on my explorer hat, I want you to put on your thinking caps.
Hi kids, I'm Renee, and this is my rounding rainforest. Now I know we're learning about rounding, but let's start with a few fun facts about the rainforest. The Amazon is the world's biggest rainforest, and it's the most biologically diverse place on Earth. That means so many different species live in it. As humans, we have a responsibility to protect wildlife and limit the resources that we take from places like the Amazon rainforest. I call this the rounding rainforest because it teaches us about rounding. Now let's learn about the layers of the rainforest. First, you have the forest floor. Animals like jaguars hunt here. Then you have the understory, which features lower branches. It's the location that tree frogs like to live. The tops of the short trees are called the canopy, and here you may find monkeys and toucans. The very top of the tallest trees are called the emergent layers, where many types of birds, bats, and butterflies often live. There's a rhyme here that we do in the rainforest to remind us about rounding. 0 to 4, stay on the forest floor. That means we round down. 5 to 9, climb the liana vine. That means we round up. A liana vine is a type of vine found in the rainforest, and it has a thick, woody stem. Say it with me. 0 to 4, stay on the forest floor. 5 to 9, climb the liana vine. You're doing great. Now let's take our rhyming knowledge of rounding and put it into action. For a problem that reads, round 56 to the nearest 10, let's start by realizing that 56 is in between 50 and 60. The tens place has a 5, so I'm going to circle it. Next door is a 6. I'll underline it. Then I remember, 5 to 9, I climb the liana vine. I need to climb up to the number 60. If you are given a number like 817 and asked to round to the nearest 100, remember the strategy that we learned. To the nearest 100, it is in between 800 and 900. I'll circle the 8. Its neighbor says it is a 1. That stays on the forest floor. The answer is 800. However, if you take this same number, 817, and say round to the nearest 10, your answer will be different. Your focus is now on the tens place. The 17 is between 10 and 20. Circle the 1, next door is a 7, in which we must round up. Climb the liana vine. I rounded up to 20. But hey, I can't just forget about my 8. I need to write in front of my 20 for a final answer of 820. Let's try to conquer this next one. Round 8,530 to the nearest 1,000. So we need to think of two numbers that end in 1,000 when we say them. It's in between 8,000 and 9,000. The thousands place has an 8. I'll circle it. The neighbor has a 5. And I'll remember, 5 to 9, climb the liana vine. I am rounding up to 9,000. Thanks for visiting the Rounding Rainforest. Now back to Mr. C for more on rounding and estimation. Bye!
Thanks, Renee. And between me and you, I think our viewers learned a ton about rounding. Let's see how they do on our 3 questions for today. Question 1. What is 82 rounded to the nearest 10? 80 was the answer that we were looking for. Question 2. What is 477 rounded to the nearest 100? Is it closer to 400 or 500? If you said 500, you were right on. Question 3. What is 791 rounded to the nearest 10? If you said 790, wonderful job! You got it! Renee and I want to thank you so much for joining us, and we want to leave you with a few things. Remember to treat the rainforest and the rest of the earth with respect. Also, remember your rounding rhyme, and never forget that shirts with parrots on them never go out of style. Bye, and thanks again.